Hi there, I'm Dave Dodds, and this is Fat Dave. Fat Dave, we're down here at 35 Henry Street, Unit 1. I'm in the same building with Pro Knitting, who used to be across the road from Walmart. We share space now, and the two of us are down here. Come on down.
Who are you? How long have you been doing the business here? Tell us about yourself.
Fat Dave started just over a year ago. Prior to that, I'd worked in heavy industrial construction for 20 plus years, traveling all over the place. I worked for a large construction firm. When they put me in the corporate role, I said, just fire me now, because me and my mouth at the mothership's not going to work. Took a couple of years, but I was restructured 2 weeks before the world shut down last year for COVID. So local musicians and everything, all the gigs had vanished, right? So what I ended up doing was every night at 6 o'clock, I'd have somebody come in and play for an hour, one, usually a solo. Every now and then, if there was a couple that were already in contact, we'd do a duo. And it was an hour set. Here's $50. That was all really, pub was shut down, so we didn't have any money coming in either. And then I streamed it live on Facebook. And then it got quite a following. There was, the intention was to keep music going a bit and help out the musicians. And it turned into something completely where I had people at home messaging, we've been stuck at home for 2 months and, we look forward to the music every night. And so that was great. Made it to 83 days in a row. And then I thought, okay, I need to turn this off for a little while. I'm going to go home and have dinner with my family. But from that, came up with this on-demand merch idea. And a few local bands said, Gag Order were on from the get-go. Checkerboard Floors were on from the get-go. Corey Mercer, Joey Vinegar jumped in, apologized to whoever I'm forgetting. I know there's people in there I'm forgetting. Guys like Dave McCurry, the local artist, his stuff, he jumped on with his neighborhood logos. I'd been bugging Dave for years, let's put these on shirts. And he goes, so finally I saw him for a beer and I said, you ready? He said, yeah, okay, let's do it. Another artist, Cameron Mady. So there's, from that initial cluster of, hey, I've got this idea, let's do merch on demand. And I was doing vinyl cutting, HTV, and then I had Gina over at Minuteman was really helpful. She would print transfers for me. And then Balbier, who I'm now sharing space with upstairs, I went in with the intention of buying his heat press off him. He'd been telling me for years he was going to retire. And he said, no, I'm not retiring. I said, okay. And he said, but use my press. I said, okay, so sell me shirts. So that's how we've gone into the, I've been buying shirts off him since I started. So when his space sold, I said, why don't we find a place together? We're now sharing, a space, and it's working out really well for both of us, or at least in my mind, it's working out really well for both of us. Yeah, so it's just expanded. I've gone from the initial cluster of bands and artists. Now I have a couple of not-for-profits on the website. Another, I think I'm at just about 20 bands. I now have 3 artists. There are probably 10 small businesses. Local stuff, right? That's one of the things I want to try and do is push local stuff like, Dairy Delight, business that people know. These are Brantford places, right? So then it didn't take me long to realize that transfers and vinyl were good. People were sporting it, but that wasn't going to cut it long term, which is when I jumped into the DTG, the direct-to-garment printing, upgraded my machinery, and things are off to the races now. I also do printing for businesses that have 10, 12 people. They don't want 200 shirts or 100 shirts or 50 shirts. They've got a couple of guys and they want some shirts. That's where direct-to-garment printing comes in, is to do short runs, 1, 2, 3 shirts, no problem. Full color, a big fancy inkjet printer that's got stupid expensive ink in it, right? I also offer embroidery. I work with a fella in Paris, same type of thing. When I initially started with John, I said, are you okay with me sending 2 hats and, instead of large minimum orders? And he said, yeah, it's fine. He throws them in between orders and things like that. So I'm able to offer that for people as well, where they don't need 50 of something. Like the fella that was here before you just come in, he's got shirts. He wants 3 shirts embroidered. He says there's going to be more coming. Okay, sure. We'll do that and see how it goes, right? So it's just a constant development. Always something new. To me, it's exciting because I get to work with different people and it gives me a platform where I can do cool stuff in the community. Last year I did what was called Feedstival. In the tail end of the summer, things had opened up and you could do outdoor events for 100. So I did a fundraiser event at the Knights of Columbus Hall, had 6 different bands show up and played for the day, and all the money went to the food bank. This year was different because everything was locked down. The first anniversary of the company was coming up. I couldn't do anything. So that's where I did the do whatever you want to my hair kind of thing, and was able to raise some more money for the food bank. It lets me do cool stuff, and collaborate with other people, working with local artists and local bands and giving them something different. Like, if a band right now wants shirts, they go in, they buy 100 shirts, one color, one design, hope you get rid of your 10 mediums. And you're stuck carrying around a box of shirts for the next 2 years, right? Same shirts. You want to do 5 different designs, put them out there. You want to make them on green and pink and orange and whatever? Sure. You want them on hoodies and long sleeves and tanks. Whatever, right? Manny's put his stuff up on the site a couple of weeks ago, and Manny's got tanks and hats and t-shirts. The options are there to do whatever. It's funny, I've got everything from, Dave McCreary with the neighborhood art, to Gag Order with the hardcore punk, to Peterborough Symphony Orchestra stuff's up on there. Really, my big things are no copyright. I get a lot of people, oh, can you make me this Bowie album cover on a t-shirt? I said, I can, but I won't. They're not going to come after you. But it's more, I'm working with a bunch of local artists that have their designs and their artwork. If I ignore somebody else's copyright and intellectual property, regardless if it's one of the big guys, my credibility with the guys I work with day in and day out goes out the window, right? So the intention is build the relationships with the guys that I work with all the time and see where it goes. So when I started the company, I got a whole pile of grief about calling my company Fat Dave. I had lots of, you can't call a company Fat Dave. It's like, I can call a company whatever the hell I want. It's my company. And whether you like it or you don't like it, it's based on the idea of something a little bit different, a little bit outside of the normal. And I don't have to tell you the name twice.